Okay, so today I was going to show you how to make my little oat cakes. Well, actually they're little cracker oat cakes. Ha! See, there they are. Actually, I have some in here that are finishing up. Okay, I'll put these in here. These are made with, let's show you what they're made with. Yeah, okay, start out with 1 cup of cold water. And we're putting it in our pan. Okay, so we're going to turn this off because I can't have 2 things going at once around this place. Okay, so we have 1 cup of water, or just about 1 cup. Yeah, putting it in a pan, 1 cup of water. Okay, and actually I'll add a little bit more because that wasn't quite a cup. There we go. Now, it has to be cold water. This has to be cold water. If this is hot water, it won't work. So it's cold water. This is my second batch. That's why my thing's grody. Okay, so then you're going to take, ooh, I haven't measured. Here's my oat flour. I'm just going to throw it in there. Till it's about that much. Maybe 2 cups. There we go. And now you're going to take a wire whisk. Wire whisk. Da-da-da. I'm just going to roll it around inside the cold so it disperses all the little starch molecules. Otherwise, it will get really lumpy if you try to do this with hot water. Okay. Now you can make oat flour. If you don't have oat flour, you can always take rolled oats and put them in a blender and blend them up really, really good. I have oat flour. So there we go. See, it's all weird. Now, next we put some salt in there, like about a teaspoon of salt. I know, don't you love the way I measure? And then we're going to, these I'm going to make that are going to have Italian spice in them. So I'm going to go over here and get Italian spice. Italian season. Do you like the sun coming in? Oh, yes, I love the sun in my kitchen. It's so nice. So we're going to put a bunch of this in there. Actually, I'm going to open it up to the big side. See, because I like to put a lot in there. Last time I didn't put very much. I couldn't take, whoop. Yep, that's enough. It looks like a lot, but when you actually go to taste the, it's not that much. We got our salt and our Italian seasonings. These are going to be like Italian crackers. So weird to cook through the blend. Okay, now I'll put in maybe a tablespoon worth of butter. I'm just going to kind of break that up, and then we turn on the heat. We take our mixing, and now we're done with the wire whisk. Put it back over here in the water. And we take this little item. First we have to plug this up. Bring it over here and plug it in. Oops, I got it backwards. To turn it around. There we go. Now we can, like, see, here's my plug-in. Plug in my electric pot. Could do this over the stove, I guess. And it's going to heat up. As soon as it starts heating, it's going to get super thick, super fast. See little bubbles. I didn't add any leavening. I don't add any leavening. I suppose I could. I just haven't been. I also don't add any sugar. These are completely sugar-free. Okay, so I'm going to spread it out a little bit. I'll just wait for it to heat up a minute. Doesn't take very long. It starts getting super thick. You gotta really stir it quickly. It gets super, super thick. Super fast. And it's just going to make the bottom less thick. Just kind of keep stirring it. Oops. Oh, thought that came undone. Cooking it up while it heats until it's really thick. This is the tricky part. To do with one hand is a little tricky, but See, the little lumps are starting, but I'm trying to avoid lumps. Okay, now I undo my heat like that. See how thick it got? Almost like Play-Doh. Yeah, now it looks almost like Play-Doh. In just a second it will anyway. This kind of separates from the sides. Now you could add a little sugar to this recipe if you like them a little sweeter on your crackers. Most cracker companies actually add sugars, and that's sad. Alright, so it's about like that. Not quite thickened up yet. And at the end we add just a little bit of oat flour to kind of get the sticky out of it. So you kind of look like cookie dough right now. Okay, so I'll let that set a little bit. Okay, then my dad, let me show you. I'm really doing this one-handed, so not as good at this, but okay. So now that it's like this consistently, we're going to take a little bit of our oat flour. I usually use like a handful. I don't know how much that is. Maybe half a cup. You just put that in, mix it in, cha-cha-cha, cha-cha-cha. Might add a little more salt. I don't think I added a lot of salt. You know, grandma and salt, we go together. Da-da-da-da-da. There we go. Let me just move that around. And then that's really thick. See? Really thick now. Alright. There we go. Instead of Italian spices, you can put all kinds of stuff in here. You could put raisins in. You could put garlic powder. You could make like garlic ones. In fact, I might add a little garlic powder this time because I didn't last time. You could put in cinnamon and sugar and make them like cinnamon cookies. There's a little garlic powder. These are more like crackers like they would have for like cheese and crackers. They would have like cheese on them, so they're like spicy so that the cheese and the spices work together. Sorry the camera's so bad. I'm not a good camera person. Anyway, alright, so at this point, did a little flour on my hand. See, now it's really like Play-Doh. And you can just keep it and use it as Play-Doh. Or you can eat it. See? Rachel thinks it looks like slime, but I think it looks more like Play-Doh. There we go. And you got it. That's the dough. Okay, then we transfer this onto this thing, our board, not as in I don't have anything to do board, but board as in cooking board, like as in cutting board. Okay, so I'm trying to get as much of this up as I can because I don't like to waste anything. I want to make sure that I don't waste any ingredients because anything left in the pot just kind of gets taken down the drain. So we're like making sure we get all of it out of the pot. You probably don't have to do that, but I like to do that. Put a little flour in there, kind of rub it around, get all the excess out. All right. Okay, now I'm going to take this and divide it into 2 balls, okay? I need both hands for that, so just a second. Okay, I'll put a little bit of flour on my flouring table. Ta-da. There we go. I have a little flour. I still have a mess from before, so it's not the cleanest, but alright, so now if you have a rolling pin, you can roll this out. It's still warm. It's nice and warm. But I haven't located my rolling pin since we moved. So I'm going to be using a glass. I'm using a glass actually that I'm going to cut them with. Just a little fluted glass, like a champagne glass, I guess. Anyway, so I'm going to roll it out until it's super thin, like 1/8 of an inch. I'm just thinning it out like this, like this. I guess as thin as I can get it. Again, it's not as good one-handed probably as I would be doing two-handed, but hey, I'm learning new skills. Alright, see now it's in a nice flat pancake thing. And then we're going to take the top of the flour, and we'll dip it in the top of the glass. We'll dip it in some flour so it doesn't stick, see? And then we go up here and we go round and round. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Probably could have gotten 11, but okay. We take our little, we have a pizza oven. You probably have a real oven, but yep, then we take our oil. Where's our oil? Here's our oil. Ta-da, right here. We just take it and brush a little bit of oil on top. If you're doing an oven, you could just brush your cookie sheet with a little oil. Okay, that's all you do. So it's really low fat too. This is not like crackers that are really fattening. These are super healthy crackers. And we just put them in here like this.
We'll make you happy. Hi, y'all.
I'm doing a video. This is Rachel. Hi, Rachel.
Hey, Marco Polo.
Oh, nobody. I'm actually just making a video that I'm on Marco Polo later. There we go. We have to plug this in yet. I haven't plugged it in. Ja. So just kind of loosen them up.
Do you have a depressed friend? Or maybe you're depressed yourself? Come to our station. We are New TV. We make fun, family-friendly movies. So, come. What?
I'm still doing this, you know that.
Sorry.
Okay, so now what do we do now? We got these in here. Well, this guy's got a tail hanging off. Yeah, we'll leave it. And so now we got these scraps. So what do we do with the scraps left over? We just ramp them up in a little ball. And we start over again. See? The nice thing about the oat cakes is because you thicken it up like you do, you don't have to add all the fat. And it has no gluten to hold it together. It's actually held together by the thickness of the oats. I realize you guys don't, your mama doesn't like oatmeal, so I don't know if you would have rolled oats. Well, I guess she would use them in cookies maybe. Maybe you got some rolled oats at home. Okay, so then we're going to do it again. Just going to put our thing in the flour. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes it pops out. 5, 6. There we go. You just pick those up and put them over here. I want to put a little bit more oil in there. Because there's no, I mean, you can either put, you can do this two ways. You can either put more oil in your oat cakes and then not fry them at all. Or you can put very little oil, which is what I did, and then put the oil in the pan. I'll probably put too much oil, but dab it up. I mean, I just have 2 more left. Like I've got just a little piece here. The thinner you make them, the quicker they cook. So you make them as thin as you can. There you go. 1, 2. Ah! get out of there. It's sticking. I didn't put it in my flour well enough. Now I have two of them stuck together. If I can get them apart. There we go. And our pan's almost full. Then this last one I do is I usually just press it down and make one without the cookie cutter thingy. That's like my last one. There we go. It's like the homemade one. And it goes right there. So there we are. We're all filled up. And then we're going to turn on our oven. Well, our oven usually would be normally on. I just didn't plug it in just a second. There we go. See the little lights on. So we're cooking. Normally I would probably have it already heated up. But I don't know that it makes much difference. So that's it. And then I'll show you how to flip them in just a few minutes. And then we clean up our mess. That's always an important part of cooking, right? Putting things back. Butter goes there. Look at the sunshine. Ah, so sunny out today. It's so awesome. Put our garlic back. And we'll put back our... Let's see, what else is here? What was I using? Oil. I like to put these on like cheese on them. Well, I guess you don't put peanut. Plain ones I'll put peanut butter on. Or you can put a little dauble of jam on top of each one of these. If you have plain ones. Or, yeah, Nutella if they're more plain. These kinds I would probably just put them out. Like you could just arrange them like this on a plate and like drizzle them with like some mozzarella cheese, just melt it on top. Maybe some dill and that. I think that's what I would do if I had the mozzarella cheese. I would just like put mozzarella on there and probably a bunch of dill and then mozzarella cheese and then put it back in here and back in the oven. Just heat it for a minute or two and or in the microwave and then just pick them up, sort of like tortilla chips, only instead of having corn and soybean oil, which is really bad for me. I can't have the soybean oil, and then I can eat this. It's healthier for me. So, and you can make them any flavor you want. You could make blueberry ones, you could make raisin ones, you could make I don't know. Let's see how our things are doing here. I lifted up a couple times just because it's not a real oven and that doesn't let out the moisture as much. I'm going to flip these babies over too. Halfway through this, you're going to flip them. I don't know that you really have to. I think if you had a bigger oven, you probably wouldn't have to. You probably just bake them. But I'm flipping them. I'm going to flip like half of them. Anyway, I'm not going to have you wait till they're all the way done. But you lift them up a couple. And I don't have no idea what you would bake them at. I'm assuming like 350 for until they look crispy. So that's it, guys. So that's the oatcake recipe. Love you. You could add some baking soda if you wanted them lighter. And oh, I wanted to tell you about the history of these. One of the reasons that they think that the people who invented these are the Scottish. And the reason that they like them is because they accredit the oatcake for having helped them conquer the Romans. When the Romans came into Great Britain, they conquered England, but they got to Scotland and they fought and they fought and they fought the Scottish, but they could not fight them and they could not beat them. So Scotland never became a part of the Roman Empire because they were better fighters than the Romans. And one of the things that they attributed to was the fact that every soldier would have a pouch of this stuff here, oat flour, on him at all times. A big pouch of it on his side or in his backpack or whatever. They carried it with them, and a little bag of like soot or butter, but usually it was like or an oil they would carry. Or they might just have animals that they shot along the way. But anyway, they would get some fat. So then they would actually take their shields when they would get to camp. They would take their shields and they would flip them over so they were concave, like this way. and then they would take their oat flour and their like any fruits that they could find nearby, any kind of fresh vegetation, they would grind it up and put it in with the flour, and then they would cook up. They would actually put their shields over the fire, and then they would cook them kind of like pancakes. So they put them on, make them super thin, put it on one side, then flip them over, and then they would take those and put them in their pouch for the next day, so that the armies of the Scots never had to stop to eat lunch or even dinner sometimes. So they could march faster and longer because the oat flour, they said, was, at least healthy for them. And so they could get their vegetables. It'd be like a whole meal, but they didn't have to stop and eat. Like the Romans would stop and eat lunch, or they'd stop and eat dinner. And the Scots didn't have to, because they had these oat cakes that they carried on them all the time that were super nutritious, that fill them up and keep them going. So that's one of the reasons that the Scottish people really revere the oat cakes, is because they're a sign of independence. They're a sign of something that helped them to stay free from the Roman oppression and the Roman government, that they got to be free to be who they wanted to be. So anyway, love you. Have a great day. Bye.